there's a robot that had its legs sawed off, and it just kept walking. Another robot is playing tic-tac-toe against humans and winning. And in the middle of all this, Elon Musk had just filed another lawsuit against OpenAI, this time accusing them of systematically stealing employees and trade secrets. Meanwhile, OpenAI just released research showing that even their best AI models can only successfully complete 48% of real professional work tasks. So we're living in this weird moment where robots are getting terrifyingly capable, AI companies are at war with each other, but the AI itself still can't reliably do your job. Let me explain what's actually happening. Hey everyone, welcome back to Artificial Fluency Technology. Today we're covering a lot of ground, from corporate warfare in Silicon Valley to robots that learn from each other's experiences instantly. And I'm going to be honest with you about what's real progress versus what's just impressive demos. Let's start with the drama, because it's actually revealing about how competitive this industry has become. Elon Musk's xAI just filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, and this one is different from his previous legal battles with them. This time, xAI is claiming OpenAI is running a systematic operation to poach their employees, specifically to steal trade secrets. They've named 8 former employees in the suit, and according to the filing, several of these people allegedly copied data from their personal devices while still working at xAI. 2 engineers supposedly downloaded the entire xAI codebase while communicating with an OpenAI recruiter through Signal, the encrypted messaging app. But here's the really spicy part. xAI claims a senior finance executive who knew about their data center operations, which they call their secret sauce, refused to comply with legal warnings about confidentiality. Now, I don't know if these allegations are true. We're only hearing one side so far, but the fact that this lawsuit exists tells you something important about where we are in the AI race. These companies aren't just competing for customers, they're in an arms race for talent and infrastructure that's getting increasingly hostile. While that legal battle unfolds, Microsoft is making an interesting strategic move. They're integrating Anthropic's Claude models, including Sonnet 4 and Opus 4.1, directly into Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Studio. This is significant because Microsoft has a huge partnership with OpenAI. They've invested billions of dollars into the company. But now they're basically saying, we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. Users will be able to switch between different AI models depending on the task. Maybe you use Claude for its writing skills, then switch to GPT for technical work. It's like having a toolkit instead of just one tool. But here's the catch. When you use Claude through Microsoft's products, your data is processed on Anthropic's servers. It leaves the Microsoft ecosystem. For enterprise customers who care about data sovereignty, that's going to be a consideration. Now, let's talk about how AI assistants are evolving. OpenAI just launched something called ChatGPT Pulse that represents a fundamental shift in how we interact with AI. Instead of you asking questions and the AI responding, Pulse works overnight to prepare personalized content for you. It analyzes your chat history and, if you give permission, your Gmail and Google Calendar. Then, in the morning, it presents you with visual cards, maybe travel suggestions, recipes, reminders about gifts you need to buy, or prep notes for upcoming meetings. The stated goal is not to maximize your screen time, but to give you quick, focused updates that prepare you for the day. Which sounds nice, but let me be honest, I'm skeptical about the execution. Early tests with university students found it works best when you give it explicit direction, but it's still early stage, and it can deliver irrelevant or inaccurate content, basically AI hallucinations dressed up as helpful suggestions. The bigger question is, do we actually want AI proactively injecting itself into our mornings? Because once you start relying on these summaries, you're outsourcing a lot of decision-making to an algorithm that doesn't understand context the way humans do. Google's taking a different approach with Search Live, which is now officially launched in the US for both Android and iOS. This is a voice-based, camera-enabled search experience. You can have a conversation with Google's AI while pointing your camera at things in the real world, and it analyzes both what you're saying and what you're looking at. The use cases are actually pretty practical: identifying landmarks while traveling, getting help with bicycle repair, learning new hobbies, or even clarifying the rules of Uno, which,
let's be honest, everyone needs help with occasionally. This feels less invasive than Pulse because you're initiating the interaction. You're pointing your camera at something because you need help right now, not because an AI decided you should care about it.
Now, here's where we need to pump the brakes on all the hype. OpenAI just released a study called GDP Wall that measured how well AI models can actually perform real professional work. They tested 1,320 tasks from 44 professions across 9 sectors: law, engineering, nursing, accounting, you name it. These tasks were designed by professionals with over 14 years of experience. The results? Claude Opus 4.1 scored highest at 48% success rate. GPT-5 led in technical accuracy. But here's the bottom line. Even the best AI models are not yet good enough for many professional jobs. They struggle with following complex instructions, and they still confidently hallucinate information when they encounter something they don't understand, rather than just admitting, "I don't know." So despite all the impressive demos we see, AI still can't autonomously handle complex, long-term creative or strategic work. It's good at short, well-defined tasks, but throw it a complicated multi-step project, it falls apart. This is why I get frustrated when people panic about AI taking all the jobs tomorrow. The technology is improving exponentially. OpenAI reported a 3x performance increase in 15 months, but we're not there yet. But while language models are still figuring out how to reliably do spreadsheet work, robots are making genuinely shocking progress. Google DeepMind just unveiled Gemini Robotics-ER 1.5, which is basically a brain for robots that lets them reason and plan like never before. This isn't just move, arm, grab object programming. These robots can understand language and visual input simultaneously, create action plans for complex tasks, break long jobs into smaller steps, evaluate their own progress, and explain their reasoning in writing. In testing, this model achieved a 63% success rate on tasks it had never been trained on. That's the key difference. It's not just following pre-programmed routines, it's actually reasoning about novel situations. Then there's skilled AI, with something that sounds like science fiction but is very real. A common brain for robots. Here's how it works. When one robot learns something new, that knowledge instantly transfers to every other robot connected to the network. It's collective learning at machine speed. And they demonstrated this in the most dramatic way possible. They literally sawed the legs off one of their four-legged robots. The robot adapted its movements and kept walking. Just figured it out and kept going. That's not pre-programmed resilience. That's real-time adaptation, and the learning from that experience can be shared with every other robot in the network immediately. Before we dive into what this robot progress actually means for the near future, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts on whether you're more excited or concerned about these robot developments, and subscribe to the channel for more analysis of where AI is really headed. Recent demonstrations show robots doing things that would have been impossible just a year ago. An aptronic humanoid robot playing tic-tac-toe against a human, robots placing grapes into a moving bowl, which requires real-time visual processing and motor control, plugging in cords, picking up dice, manipulating small objects with increasing speed and dexterity. What strikes me watching these videos is how much less clumsy robots are becoming. They're not doing that jerky, tentative movement anymore. They're starting to move with purpose and confidence. While all this is happening, there's a fascinating geopolitical angle. Nvidia just partnered with Alibaba Cloud to integrate their physical AI tools into Alibaba's platform. This is for creating digital twins, complex 3D simulations of the real world for training robots and autonomous vehicles. And this partnership is happening despite reports that the Chinese government is discouraging the use of Nvidia chips. Alibaba is going all in on AI, with over $50 billion invested and 91 data centers across 29 regions globally. They just launched their QM3 Max model, trained on 1 trillion parameters. This tells you something important. The AI race isn't just between American companies.
It's global, and the boundaries are getting complicated when business interests and geopolitical tensions collide. So let me give you my actual take on where we are right now. On the language model side, we're in this weird valley where the demos are impressive, but the real-world reliability isn't there yet. ChatGPT Pulse might eventually be useful, but right now it's a solution looking for a problem. Most people don't need AI curating their mornings, they need AI that can actually complete complex work tasks reliably. The GDP wall study is really important because it cuts through the hype. 48% success rate on professional tasks means you still need a human in the loop for anything important. That's not AI is replacing jobs, that's AI is a sometimes helpful assistant. But robots, that's where the real acceleration is happening. The combination of better reasoning models like Gemini Robotics and collective learning systems like Skilled AI's Common Brain means we're probably 2 to 3 years away from robots that can genuinely be useful in homes and businesses. Not in a replace all humans way, but in a actually help with specific tasks way. A robot that can adapt to your kitchen layout, learn from mistakes, and share those learnings with other robots, that's a product I can imagine people actually buying. The xAI versus OpenAI lawsuit matters because it shows how high the stakes have gotten. When companies are accusing each other of systematic talent theft and trade secret violations, it means we're past the friendly competition phase. These companies understand that whoever gets to market first with truly capable AI agents and robots has a massive first-mover advantage. That's why Microsoft is hedging its bets with multiple models. That's why Nvidia is partnering with Chinese companies despite geopolitical tensions. That's why Elon is fighting so aggressively to protect xAI's talent and technology.
Looking forward, here's what I think happens over the next 2-3 years. Language models will continue improving, but the AGI is coming next year. Predictions will keep being wrong. We'll see incremental improvements in reliability and capability, but the 48% success rate needs to get to like 90% plus before these systems can be truly autonomous. That's going to take longer than the hype cycle suggests. Robots will make faster visible progress because the bar is lower. A robot that can fold laundry reliably is immediately useful. A robot that can cook simple meals or help elderly people with mobility. These are products that could exist in the next few years and actually work. The corporate wars will intensify. Expect more lawsuits, more poaching allegations, more desperate attempts to protect intellectual property as the competition gets fiercer. And we'll see more multi-modal strategies like Microsoft's, where companies hedge their bets across different AI providers instead of committing to one platform. Here's the bottom line. We're in this strange transitional moment where the technology is advancing rapidly, but not uniformly. Robots are getting surprisingly good. Language models are getting incrementally better, but are still unreliable for complex work. And the companies building this technology are fighting each other more aggressively than ever. The robot with sawed-off legs that keeps walking, that's genuinely impressive and represents real progress. ChatGPT preparing your morning briefing, that's a feature that sounds cool but might not actually improve your life. My advice, stay skeptical of the hype around AGI and job displacement, but pay attention to the practical robotics developments. That's where the real near-term impact will be. What do you think? Are you more excited or concerned about robots getting this capable? And do you believe the xAI allegations against OpenAI? Let me know in the comments below. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening in AI and robotics, consider subscribing for more analysis that cuts through the marketing spin. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.